Hello, everybody, and welcome to the QPR Partner Webinar. We are super happy to talk today about turning the business processes into gold mines. And together with me here in the webinar, I have Jarkko Parviainen from iwow Digital. Maybe Jarkko, you can say a couple of words about yourself and the company.
Yes, thank you, Tim. Happy to be here today. So iwow is an IT consultancy company, and what we do is we help our customers to improve their business processes with the help of process mining, AI, and digital process automation. We are located in Sweden, in Stockholm and Gothenburg, but we do deliver our services internationally. And then a little bit about myself. So I myself am a data enthusiast. I have been working with data and data warehousing, business intelligence, and dashboarding since the early 2000s. And with process mining, I've been working since around 2017. So really happy to be here today to talk about proof of value projects with process mining.
Thank you, Jarkko. Super good to be here together with you. And as many of you already know, I'm Timo Lehto, and I'm heading the professional services in QPR. 25 years here in QPR, and also the PhD in process mining. So I really love this methodology and love the results that we can do together with the partners and with the customers, of course. Okay, let's go more into the today's topics. So turning processes into gold mines. We are going to first talk a little bit about the power of the process mining, and then the main part of the webinar is this proof of value project kind of the methodology. So how to get the return on investment from process mining, and what is this proof of value project? What are the roadblocks and how to get started? Then we do have a live demo. So all the questions, comments regarding the content or the demo, every time, please feel free to write into the chat. So we will be taking the chat questions after this normal content and the demo. So of course, after the demo, we'll briefly talk about the next steps, but then it's the questions and answers section. So we are running 30 minutes for the webinar itself, and then 15 minutes reserved for the questions and answers. So let's get started. All right, unlocking the power of process mining. We know in the audience, there's a lot of people. Many of you know already process mining, but as we can see, many people don't know so much about the process mining. So let me do like a very short intro. So first of all, process mining is about really seeing the reality. Like the process documentation is typically about the design. So somebody has designed the process, but the reality is quite different. Like here you see the path is going directly and there's some gates. People are supposed to walk between the gates, but what happens in reality, they are walking in the grass. This is exactly what happens in the modern ERP systems and in the modern businesses everywhere. And the picture on the right-hand side is transparency that comes with process mining. So when putting in the data of your own operations, process mining gives you a good visibility on what is the main path over here and which kind of variations are there, so that you really see the reality. This is kind of the basic key concept of process mining. It doesn't stop here. However, like you see this picture, the kind of the path was intended to go this way, but there are changes. There's always a lot of changes. So maybe last month, things were running smoothly, but then something happens. A new product is launched. A new customer comes. You change some agreement rules. You change the process. There's a strike. There's all kind of things that affect the process, and then there appears to be like new variations and new paths. So process is kind of continuously evolving operation, and with process mining you can really see these changes. Okay, third slide. Process mining does not only detect the problems, but it also really gives you the full understanding of the root causes. This is very powerful when you then want to improve, like process mining lets you see what is causing these problems, whether it's rework or unwanted process variation, or like you don't meet the SLA or whatever business objective you have. So you use process mining to see the root causes. And then my slide number 4, the last slide, is that today we are going to talk about the proof of value. So there has to be a real business value out of process mining. And put it things simple, we have seen a lot of companies saving operational costs. So you save costs by doing process mining and getting more business by using process mining. So these kind of tangible benefits we should be looking for. Okay, this was the process mining kind of overview, and now I'm very happy to hand it over to Jarkko to talk about this proof of value, ensuring return on investment from the process mining. Jarkko, please.
Thank you, Timo. Thank you. So if you go to the next slide, so a lot of times when people are just getting started with process mining, so they want to try it out, and a lot of times people are talking about a proof of concept or a proof of value project kind of interchangeably. But the fact is, the concept of process mining, so that has already been proved many times. So QPR, for instance, has a lot of successful implementations done. So the question a lot of times is actually, what is the value of doing process mining for the company in terms of growth, revenue, and profit? So the focus of iwow's approach is really kind of on trying to understand this value and how process mining plays a role there. And when we start a proof of value project, so usually we start by setting a value objective. And then we identify a process to analyze and the relevant source systems where the data that is needed is located in. And then we build an analysis and do a kind of this collaborative investigations of the results. And when we are identifying the places where process mining has kind of the best value for an organization, so we focus on understanding the company situation and potential challenges in these following dimensions. So one of the dimensions is efficiency. And under efficiency, we are usually looking at rework. We are looking at possible process blockers. We are looking at places where there are manual changes and things like digitalization rate and so on. Then we are also looking at speed. So things, of course, like lead time, throughput time, any causes for delays, any bottlenecks that can be found, and what are the effects of those bottlenecks. Then, of course, we also look at quality. And here we are looking mostly at rejected cases. We are identifying root causes for the rejections, and we are also identifying what manual work is caused by rejections. Then we have a fourth dimension as well, which is kind of these direct monetary effects that could be attained from the process mining analysis. And what we are doing here is we are trying to find cases where we can eliminate material losses, where we can identify cases like misdirections or some other errors that are found in the processes. So those are the things that we are focusing on during a process mining proof of value process. So let's take a look at one of these dimensions in a bit more detail. So if you kind of take a look at efficiency, so what QPR can actually do is that it can visualize rework in a very clear way. And rework can happen, of course, for example, because of data entry errors or other problems in a process. So let's take an example of an order management process. And in such a process, usually rework increases the cycle time of orders. That is the time that it takes to kind of handle the order in production until it is completed. And to kind of quantify the potential effect of such rework and the delays it causes. So let's think or assume that there's a company that processes about 10,000 orders per month, and it uses about 20 working days to process those orders. When we can identify the problems with rework, so then we can actually reduce the order cycle time. And when we can reduce the order cycle time, so we can actually increase the capacity the organization has for handling the orders. And when we think that it's using like 20 days to handle 10,000 orders, so if we can reduce the handling time to by 2 days, so then we have actually been able to kind of unlock a growth potential of handling 1,000 more orders per month. So that's the way we can kind of get a connection to the growth impact, for example. Then we can go and look at the next dimension. Let's look at direct monetary effect next.
Okay. Yep.
Yes. So what QPR can do, for example, is that it can help us quickly identify different causes, for examples, for rejections. So let's kind of focus, for example, on sales orders. So a sales order maybe could be rejected because there's an error with the customer address or customer address mismatch or other such reasons. So QPR has a functionality for clustering, and what that can do is that it can show us where a particular problem is happening the most. So what, for example, are the regions where the problem is occurring most? What are the vendors that are related to the problem, and so on. So it can really help us pinpoint the places where we can find the potential for improvement. And again, just to kind of quantify what this could mean in practice. So if we have a company that has kind of this average order value of 1,000 euros, and every month there are 100 orders that get rejected. So we can say that they're actually losing about 100,000 euros of revenue each month. And if they have a gross profit margin of 25%, so in a kind of back of a napkin calculation, so they're actually losing profit as well, about 25,000 euros every month. So just by identifying in a very kind of clear way where the problem is and finding actions how we can continuously work on to kind of reduce those problems, those rejections, so then we can recover lost revenue and lost profit, and through that have a really good impact through the help of process mining. So that's two examples of how we can kind of connect the impact of process mining to the value in growth, revenue, and profit. But then I think we can move to the next slide and take a look at potential roadblocks to get started with process mining. So when I've been working with process mining, so there has been kind of a couple of ways organizations get started with process mining. So one of the ways is to kind of do this exploratory approach, where the thinking is that, okay, let's upload some data into process mining and see what we can find out about our processes. But what I found is that it's actually much better to focus on solving a real problem. So just identifying a clear business problem that needs to be resolved. Because when you have such a problem, so then it's much more easy to define a clear business objective and also to list concrete expectations for outcomes. As an example, so a few years back, so I was working with a couple of process mining projects. So one of them was about order to activation and problems in the order to activation process. And the other one was about kind of exploring an incident management process. And in the order to activation process, so there was kind of this clear goal of identifying where the problem is and getting it fixed so that the customers don't experience odd problems with the process. And through that, it was very easy to define that what was the data that was needed and what was the kind of the business benefit out of resolving the problem. It was also very easy to list the concrete expectations and also to identify the people who need to be involved when solving the problem. So people who need to get this, have to get kind of around the data and to discuss the potential reasons behind the problems and what possible things we could do to fix the problem as well. So it's very important to really, in a proof of value project already, focus on solving a real business problem because it makes it so much easier to have a clear goal and collect the correct people. Then another problem or a roadblock kind of when you're starting with process mining is of course access to data because this is a data project. So you need to identify the relevant data. And the data that you actually need to get started with process mining is usually event data or timestamps of different things that are happening. For example, for an invoice or an order in a system. So you have like the order number, and then you have the different dates for different events that are happening for the order. And process mining is using that data to kind of create the visualizations and to build the analysis for the process. So and today there's like two possible sources for the data. So usually there's some kind of a data warehouse or a data lake, or you can get the data directly from the source system. But depending on the process that you're working on, so you might need to take into consideration things like privacy concerns or anonymization of the data and so on. And usually those things have already been taken care of kind of on the data warehouse and data lake side. But if you get the data directly from the source system, so it could be that those things haven't already been considered. So you have to take those into account. So I usually tend to kind of first look into the data warehouse or data lake. So does the data lake or data warehouse contain the relevant events? Does it have the kind of data in a good enough volume to do the proof of value project? But if it's missing some dates, so then appending or getting more data also from the source system can help to create a more robust analysis. And the extraction itself is very easy. Usually you just extract the data as text, for example, as a CSV file. And another possible roadblock during a proof of value project is of course collaboration around the data. And that's because IT usually kind of knows how to access the data and knows where we can find the data, but business knows exactly the context of the data and how the data should be used. So you really need to ensure that you have a good collaboration between IT and business when you're working together to creating the analysis. Because discussions with business can actually reveal that maybe certain pieces of data actually need to be used in a slightly different way than the kind of the data structure itself could indicate. So it's really important to have this collaboration going. And when doing a proof of value project with QPR, so QPR actually has wonderful templates that one can use so that you can get going really quickly with a good extraction of data. Thank you. So then I think it's time for a demo.
Yes, thank you, Jarkko, very much. So it was really, thank you very much for the for going through the proof of value project, some benefits and some roadblocks. I'm sure there will be a lot of questions in the chat. And now it's my job to show you. I'm really happy to show you the live demo of this QPR solution now tuned for the proof of value projects. So let's start with the normal process mining. So this is kind of the very traditional process mining view. So you see the process flowchart here on the left-hand side, and then those event data with the timestamps that Jarkko mentioned, they are here on the right-hand side. And we would kind of create this together and then look at the transparency, like how the processes are going. So that would be a proof of concept. But today we're going to talk about proof of value, which is something a bit more. But let me first go a little bit through this proof of concept kind of material, which is a normal process mining. So as you see, the events are here. If I only select one case, we see there are these events and these timestamps, and you see the flow chart looks like this. The same goes if I take up, let's say, 5 cases, we see that, oh, there's some not so often happening events appearing in the process. If I take a bit more cases, again, like there's going to be more variations visible. So more routes where the process goes. And this is an order to cash process. So sometimes there are changes in the documents and so on. And now if I remove the filter completely, I'm looking at 91,700 cases. And the summary overall picture looks like this. And then there's always a possibility to go into, let's say, more details, I'm just this, which are sometimes referred to the spider webs. But that is like giving the real full transparency into the processes. And what is good in QPR is that right when you put this information here, you can already start to see like rework. Rework is displayed already by using the data and the timestamps, highlighting those actions and event types where there are like repeating events. Like in your operations, you are doing these steps multiple times. Same goes for the bottlenecks. With the red color, we can visualize the places where bottlenecks are appearing at the moment. Process automation level, we see with the blue coloring where are the areas where the automation is on a good level, and then the gray corresponds with the not so well automated. So all this kind of analysis comes when you just put the data into the tool. But now let me go
Okay, I guess we lost connection to Teemu. So
Wow.
Hello again. Yes.
Oh, incredible. Let me share the screen.
Yeah, you were doing a heavy analysis, so the network couldn't keep up.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay. Am I back?
Yeah, you are back.
Okay. Sorry for this hassle. So now, when we are talking about proof of value project, here is a dashboard that is kind of analysis that is already displaying the total cost saving potential for an individual improvement. Here it's the process automation improvement. And in this list, we can see we have, for example, order to cash project, the typical goals for the project are improve the automation, check the...
Teemu, can you close the camera as you're demoing? I think it will help your bandwidth a little bit.
Okay. Okay. Let me see. Okay.
Yes, that is perfect. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So here is like a paid on time. Are the customers paying on time? Are you how early you collect the money? Price changes, how many price changes you have, general rework during the process, and then working capital that you need in order to run the process. So when we look at this proof of value for the automation, this analysis is based on the real process mining data. So once we first gather the process mining data from your operations, we can then show, for example, what are the event types that activities that you are doing in the process, what is the automation rate currently within those event types, and how big is the saving potential if this particular event or activity could be automated. And there's a target level for automation and the cost of the activity. So you can give the parameters, see how the total cost saving potential changes, or you can just change the cost of the activity, and again you see the changes here. So you can the proof of value project actually gives you a very good fact-based understanding of what is the improvement potential in euros or dollars or in your currency. And now what else we have here is that we have the analysis, of course, the data timeline, how much data you had, but this is quite interesting. So now QPR, in the latest release, we have integrated the AI agent technology into QPR. So QPR is also giving observations and findings in a generative AI report, like saying what are the big findings over here and what are the recommendations for you to do in order to improve the situation. So this information is now coming from the AI agent. And as you can see, we can also like focus this analysis into a certain area. Like I'm focusing into, let's say, let me take a couple of areas and generating the answers. Or was it like, yes, so we take a couple of areas, and now we see that in these areas, this is now the kind of the findings and recommendations, particularly for this area. So the recommendations and findings are always updated whenever you do any filtering in QPR. And this is now the total value for this particular use case. So this was the proof of value for the automation. Let me also show you another one, like paid on time. This is about how much time it takes for your customers to pay the invoices. And here we can see that the total cost saving potential is around 200,000 euro, and there is a value for the late payments and how many are paid on time and what is the saving opportunity, taking into account the yearly interest. And in a similar manner, you have the AI agent findings over here, observations and the recommendations. And you can drill down into, for example, some business area and see how the answers from the AI are being generated and the recommendations are changing based on the data. So that was the paid on time, and maybe one more about the price. Well, maybe the rework. So the process rework here, we are saying that in the analysis that the total cost saving potential is around 600,000 euro, and it's based on removing the rework from these selected activities. And here you can see those business areas that have a lot of these rework manual events, and here are those same analysis by the event type itself. So you can see that removing this change in net price in the sales order would result in 200,000 improvement. And again, the analysis timeline, here is a root cause analysis showing in which areas this rework is taking place: agriculture, fertilizers, dry stone China, and so. And then kind of the last analysis over here is the AI agent giving the findings and recommendations. So the result here is, when you think about the typical process mining proof of value project, the result will be a concrete analysis of what does your data say about the improvement potential, how much you can save in euros, where are the root causes, and what is AI agent giving you as recommendations how to improve the situation. Okay, this is pretty much what I wanted to show in the demo, and I can of course go through if you have some questions about it. But let me now get back here to the presentation, and let's talk about the next steps, how to get started. And actually, the way how to get started is pretty simple. So we are offering, together with iwow, we are offering a 1-hour complimentary demo with your own data. So you can, when you provide us data, we are happy to do the analysis, and then based on that, show a 1-hour demo. Let's go through the data so that we can get your proof of value project and process mining journey started. Jarkko, you would like to comment on this offer?
Yes, this is very exciting, and it's all about kind of this collaborative investigation of the data. So as I mentioned earlier, so it's always good to kind of focus on a specific problem, a specific thing that you may be suspecting that you have as a problem in your process. So just by having the data and time to investigate the problem together, so you can really see how the kind of process mining can help you. And what I think is really wonderful with process mining is that it actually shows you kind of this very objective view of the situation. So there aren't a lot of assumptions of how the process is going and so on. It shows you exactly how the process looks based on the data. So it's a very powerful way of also understanding how the kind of the business and the processes they work. So yeah, very excited to do this together.
Yes, very good, very good. Okay, so thank you very much for this webinar so far. We were very happy. It was very good to show you. Sorry for the technical challenge in the middle, but we are back in business now, and now it's time for the questions and answers. So please feel free to write the questions into the chat. Okay, there was one question. Will you be able to share the slides? Yes, the slides will be visible. Okay. And all right. How long does a proof of value project typically take? Maybe Jarkko, you would like to comment on that.
Yeah, so typically it takes 1 month, but it can also take up to 3 months. It usually depends a lot on kind of collaboration around the data and how we can combine the data together. But 1 month is usually kind of the time that you need. But sometimes you need kind of to add maybe some details, and that can take a little bit of time. So up to 3 months it can be, but 1 month, I would say, for most.
Yeah. Yes, I think the idea is to keep it short and compact.
Exactly.
But however, it's reality that even though the analysis could be pushed within 1 week, one very intense week, it's better to reserve some time for maybe some iterations during the project. But it's important that you can already in the beginning of the project, you can book the review meetings and the workshops into the calendar. So
yes, exactly.
So this is a kind of a proven technology.
Yes.
Good. There was a question, what is the cost for the 1 hour demo with own data? Okay, well, we are very happy to say that the marketing department has given this good offer that for the webinar participants, this 1 hour demo is complimentary. So for those who are participating in this webinar, it is complimentary. So there is no cost involved. Okay. Mm-hmm. Then let's look at the other questions. So maybe Jarkko again, like what concrete results can I expect after completing a proof of value project?
Yeah, so one very concrete result, of course, is understanding kind of value of process mining for your organization. So that is, of course, one of the outcomes of a proof of value project. But then also, we usually identify different reasons for the problems that we are looking at. So we have a really kind of fact-based results on what are the kind of things that are contributing to the issues that you have in the process that we are investigating. And through that, you can actually start thinking about what are the things that you can do to actually fix the problems. And usually the resulting dashboards and analysis, so it's ready, like you have the data, you have the analysis there. So it's very easy to go there from production and continuously start updating and following up. For example, how are the actions that you are doing changing the kind of situation, and how is the process changing? So for example, if you have decided or seen that there's kind of rework that you want to eliminate and you have then chosen some actions, so then you can just continuously update the analysis in production and see how the rework is being eliminated. So it's really a kind of good start to kind of moving forward with process mining as well.
Yeah, I would also comment that, thanks, Arko. I would also say that the concrete results, well, for example, you may have a clear business problem. You may have many views, like many people, organization, divisions may have different views on what is causing this. Or maybe you have a hunch that this is the reason, but you are not really sure whether this is the reason. So with the proof of value project, you may already be able to show a fact-based analysis that what is causing this problem. And then once you see the problem and you see the result, you are typically halfway of solving it. So, so the concrete result could be very easily that you get rid of, let's say, 50%, 80% of that problem in your real business. So your payback will be immediate and very high. This is depending on you having a good hunch of what is the problem. Of course, if the problem is more vague, the analysis might give you like hints of the directions where to really find the truth, and then you need to kind of continue the proof of value. But you can continue it in an agile way. But really, the idea of the proof of value is that you really see where you are. What is the potential of an improvement? What is a problem and what is the improvement potential?
Yeah, and it's really about quantifying, like
yes.
What could be the potential impact. So yeah.
Yes. Okay. Well, we have a lot of questions here. Okay, let's say, how is a manual steps without system logs in the process being handled in the tool? Okay, maybe I answer that. There is a process mining uses a timestamp data. So the timestamp data typically comes from the ERP systems or workflow systems or any other IT systems where it can be taken as a complete set. Some manual things are quite often sort of they are invisible, but sometimes they can be like seen that, okay, between these events, something is happening, and that is making the process to take a long time. So sometimes the manual steps can be sort of understood based on the case attributes and event attributes of the ERP and workflow data. But if manual steps are really needed, then QPR also has this task recorder, which is a tool that can be run in the desktop machines to capture activities that people do with some other systems. And of course, if it's like fully manual, then the only way to get it to the analysis is to start recording those, putting down the timestamps somewhere, maybe manually for 1 week, so that you can get an understanding of how much time the process is taking. That approach has also been used by some customers in some situations. Okay, then we have a question that what kind of data is needed to start the proof of value project? Jarkko, you maybe said it, but maybe you can repeat it again, like what kind of data is needed?
Yeah, so you basically need event data about some subjects. So it can be, for instance, if you want to understand better how your invoice-related processes are running. So then you need, of course, the invoice number, and then you need timestamps or events that have been done to that particular invoice, for example. So it's usually timestamps from a database or from a log file and some kind of a number ID. And then you need to be able to label those different events. So what do specific kind of types of dates mean, for example? So it's really kind of those three things that you need, and then you can start creating this analysis. So and the data model is actually very robust in that sense, so that with only those three pieces of data, you can create a really good analysis already about your processes. And then you can just add additional context to the events, for example, or for the invoices, if you're looking at invoices. So yeah, but it's some kind of an ID, and then some date information about events, and then labels for the dates. What do different types of dates mean? So those are the ones that you need at minimum.
Yes, and if you are using a commercial ERP system, then there's a big likelihood that we already have experience in that particular ERP application and the database and the data structure, so we can advise you. It is important to think about what is the business problem you are trying to understand and solve, so that we take the right data. Good. There was, and in the same theme, there was also a question: can you include with the slide some cases used related with corporate and investment banking industry? The challenge is to identify real application in our particular companies. Okay, I think this is a very good example for proof of value. So Jarkko, you may want to comment. I can say that obviously anything that has to do with the manual work, like if you look at your labor, what are the employees actually doing? That is a kind of a potential source for the benefits. So any process, like you are typically in investment banking, corporate industry, you are opening accounts and you are dealing with the sort of the workflows. All of those workflows are candidates for process mining, and it just depends. I would start with the workflows where there's the biggest volumes and the biggest amount of employees are, because that's obviously the place for the biggest amounts of the savings. Jarkko, do you want to comment on this corporate and investment banking industry?
Yeah, I think I can comment in general. So it's for me, it's always about kind of understanding what is the biggest problem. So is it like that there are some quality problems, or is it so that things aren't working as quickly as you'd like them to? So it kind of helps you direct your investigation. So where would you like to apply process mining in? So just by kind of understanding the types of problems you're having, so it can kind of make it easier for you to identify the use cases as well. So that's usually my approach. So what are the things that you would like to get solved? What are the problems that you're facing? And go from there and start investigating from there. And as Teemu said, so the more volume you have, so the easier it is to kind of get started with the analysis, of course, and to get more insight as well. But yeah, so identifying what types of challenges you're having. So that would be the place where I'd start.
Yes.
Yeah.
And thank you also for the person who made this question. And we are happy to provide more information. So if there's anybody else who wants some more information on a particular industry or use case, you can just write that to the chat, and we will be contacting you after the webinar. Then we have a question: is the AI agent available automatically, or will it require some development config work in the background? So it is available automatically. It is using the OpenAI, generative AI functionalities, or alternatively the Snowflake Cortex AI functionalities. So that means that there's a very big variety of large language models that can be used, also including the custom large language models if we are talking about like a corporate level customer with their own large language models. But it is a built-in feature, and I'm just showing quickly here in the stream also the QPR wiki. So here in the wiki on QPR.com we have the place for the information, and here there's a lot of information about the configuring and kind of about the AI agent and the other functionalities as well. So AI agent is available, and for the QPR Cloud customers, it's configured automatic. If that is what you want. Okay. Then we maybe have time for one more. Okay, there's a question. We are using Snowflake. Will that be beneficial for the proof of value project? Well, definitely it is. It is beneficial. So QPR is the only process mining tool that can run the process mining analysis inside the Snowflake AI data platform, data cloud. So it means that we don't need to move the data anywhere. The analysis can be done inside the Snowflake cloud, and that, of course, from the security point of view, from your kind of granting the permissions and moving the data, you don't need to move the data at all. So proof of value projects can be run multiple of those can be run inside your organization with all the data that you have in Snowflake. Of course, if you don't use Snowflake, then it is the traditional, let's extract the data and do the analysis. So that's kind of the standard technology. This Snowflake just makes it even easier. Okay, maybe this is the last question. So do you provide ongoing support and training after the implementation of process mining? So Jarkko, what would you say about iwow? What kind of services you provide?
Yes. So we do support after the implementation. So we provide training, ongoing support for the solutions, and of course help with implementing further solutions. And we also provide mentorship to kind of build up own competencies around process mining and how to utilize them effectively. So yes, we do support after the proof of value process as well.
Yes. And of course, same for QPR, new release is coming. So we provide the training and support for all the technical side. And with our partners, we are very happy to support your business improvement initiatives and getting the value out of process mining. All right, this is now the time to say thank you. It was really a pleasure to be hosting this and meeting you all. And I hope we will meet again in the next webinars of QPR, or even better, let's meet in the proof of value project and see how the demo with your own data goes with your own data. Thank you from my side.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. Bye-bye.